Indie film wonder boy Curry Barker makes film that does over 259 times its budget in the box office. And it was just okay. Now, I say this having watched Obsession only a few hours ago, and believe me when I say I really enjoyed the movie. It was so good. Again, with $750,000 for a budget, doing close to 290 million in the box office. They did not cheap out on the special effects. The acting was excellent. The filmmaking was okay, and really gives Hollywood a run for its money with this input to output ratio. The film itself is not a complicated through line, and the idea is pretty simple and pretty clever. What really makes this is the acting, and I mean particularly the acting by the actress who plays Nikki. She was excellent. She was believable. I think what's kind of unique about her character is that she does play sort of a satire on the obsessive girlfriend, over exaggerated way that we can now understand as satire in a contemporary context. In a modern society, we have created this archetype of the obsessed girlfriend that's not only recognizable and kind of laughable, but also kind of used as a satire to take a piss on misogynistic and anti-feminist beliefs, which I know is a fear for a lot of people about Obsession. We'd be watching this film that just rips into girls or stereotypes of girls who are obsessed with their boyfriends and creating more hate. That is definitely not the case and not what this film is about. I find it funny that a lot of people are comparing this to Backrooms because they released around a similar time, but really it's a lot more like Iron Lung in the sense that the film's success is a lot based in the independent creators' fame and success, way more than just a campy niche that the Backrooms obviously already was, among also being funded by A24, which make them only more impressive for their success. And much like Iron Lung, this film was on the shorter side of feature films, coming in at only around an hour and 49 minutes, which I found to be quite a quick hour and 49 minutes. It was quite digestible and moved pretty fast. It was a good blend of horror and comedy. I find that a lot of horror films tend to go way too far into the spectacle side of things. I appreciate that this was a psychological horror film that did a lot of really clever things, which obviously makes sense with its small budget, because if I watched this film from Curry Barker that was just a spectacle horror show that was obviously not enjoyable, and which, by the way, if your favorite horror films are spectacle like Terrifier or the later Saw movies or Human Centipede, where people are just being decimated in the most brutal and grotesque ways, that is the equivalent of a beige diet for film. What is wrong with you? You are on the same level as people who enjoy Hallmark movies. Shame. But I guess in a similar way, like Backrooms and Iron Lung, it does mainly rely on the psychological ideas to scare the audience. A lot of the thrill comes from the score and a lot of storytelling through the score, which I can certainly appreciate, much like Backrooms. A lot of bass. A lot of it was playing on the raised stakes and awareness of Nikki's character and her movements and changes in the film, interacting with the characters, which I think contributed to this film's success. The fact that it didn't take itself so seriously, because if it was just really over the top trying to freak out the audience, I think that people going in seeing a Curry Barker film would hope to see at least a little comedy, and too serious of a film and too much pretentious commentary is probably not what people were in for a Curry Barker film. There is no film like this, and especially in a modern context when people are already struggling to get people to go to the cinemas. Hollywood is dying to get people to go to the cinemas, and you have this film come out, $750,000 budget, 290 million gross. It makes no sense. There has never been a film to do these kinds of crazy numbers that is an actual filmmaking experience and not something that's a little closer to a analog horror. I know I'm probably not using that right, but like an analog horror. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Blair Witch Project, I'm talking about Paranormal Activity, obviously costs like nothing to make, Creep 2. Those films obviously do really good because they cost almost nothing to make, besides maybe star power. This is an actual filmmaking experience. This is a traditionally made film, and it did over 290 times its budget. The only reason I criticize that is because I don't think there's any film that should be a 1 to 290 ratio of money in to money out. And the only reason I say that is because for the film that it is, there's no one that could comfortably say that it is a 1 to 290 ratio. It is that good. It was a good thing. It said some cool stuff. It did some cool film stuff. I don't think it revolutionized cinema. These films that do these kinds of numbers, these spectacles, these diamonds in the rough, do not usually do these kinds of numbers. Even someone like Markiplier, who has an insane amount of subscribers and following on YouTube, way more than Curry Barker, did only 90 million to his $3 million budget film, $8 million budget film. But even he only did 10 times his budget. Obsession was not that crazy. It was not that crazy, but it was pretty good. I liked it. I would give it, I'm feeling a strong 8 to a light 7.5. His cameo as the phone guy was really slick. I appreciate that. He didn't make it too obvious.